Hi folks, Joseph Kursky here with you to talk about another manifestation of web-based GIS or mapping, and that is you can analyze things in near real time and real time. Why is this important? Well, because we need to map things that are happening right now. Wildfires, the COVID situation, and hurricanes. So let's take a look at Hurricane Laura right now inside ArcGIS Online with some live interactive map feeds. And let's take a look at, first of all, we've got the wind speed and direction layer from NOAA coming in. So if I zoom in here, you can see the direction of because it's a low pressure system, correct? So it's flowing counterclockwise, just as we would expect in the northern hemisphere. It would be directly opposite. It would be clockwise in the southern hemisphere. And for a high pressure system, it would be clockwise in the northern hemisphere and counterclockwise in the southern hemisphere. We've got a low pressure system here, so it makes sense that these wind vectors are going in the counterclockwise motion. And you can see here from the table of contents, we've got the legend right here, and they're quite high, and unfortunately it's a grim situation. So that's one of the layers that we can look at. Another layer that we can look at is, of course, the satellite imagery. And right now it's about 12 hours after the hurricane has made landfall in southeast Texas, southwest Louisiana. We can see this huge swirling cloud development. Now we can also make it semi-transparent so we can see some of the base map. You can see there just with this transparency tool, I can start looking at this. And another thing I can do is I can actually measure for example, the distance across, let's measure it in kilometers, east-west, you can see 1,000 kilometers. What about north-south? About 1,000 kilometers there too. We can also measure the size. I'm going to move this down a little bit. And with a quick measurement, let's measure it in square kilometers. I'm going to measure the extent of the cloud band here. Just roughly, you can do this in ArcGIS Online yourself. It's almost 1 million square kilometers. At this time. It's a dynamic situation, of course, but you can use these measure tools in simple but powerful ways. So another thing that we can do is we can add things like hurricanes layer. So I can see here that we've got a couple of hurricanes in this feed right now. We've got one off Hurricane Hernan, and that is right now a tropical depression. But take a look at this. We've got an active hurricane, cyclones, and typhoons forecast position. Some of these data feeds are actually global, like this one right here. So you can see there's actually one off of North Korea right now. So pay attention to the scale. This is just absolutely, it's grim. It's a grim situation, but people are using these data sets to make decisions about people's lives and property. And so these are very critical data layers to be able to have at our fingertips that we can map in a web-based platform like ArcGIS Online. Let's resume our work here. Now we are looking at the observed position, so I can actually click on each one of these and see what the observed position was at certain hours. I've got every 6 hours, it looks like. And then I also have the forecasted track because, these are dynamic situations. And so what's the forecasted track for this and other hurricanes? And then what about forecasted error cone? We don't know exactly. These are dynamic situations and we don't know exactly. We have models, but this is the error cone. It could go anywhere inside this error cone as it moves off toward the northeast part of the USA and going from a depression to a subtropical storm. That's the symbology here. Let's take a look here. Yeah, you can always pop up the legend. A tropical depression and then a tropical storm. And right now a hurricane, unfortunately. Okay, let's get back to our layers. We've got a couple more that I want to show you, and that is, this is watches and warnings. So you've got obviously a storm surge warning right there, and then you've got this, the tropical storm force, hurricane force and above, or tropical storm force and above, and then you also have this right here. So you've got a lot of layers at your fingertips with a lot of data, and each one of these data layers actually has a table behind it. That's what makes GIS so powerful. You've got the G part, which is the map. The I part is the table or the attributes behind the data. So it's not just a bunch of graphics floating out in cyberspace. It actually has intelligence behind it, which gives GIS its power. So you can look at, for most of these layers, except for the image you can look at the table of data and do some further analysis. You can obviously take this into same platform, ArcGIS Online. You can do analysis on it with spatial tools, about spatial statistics and others, mean center, standard deviational ellipse, and other tools. Proximity, you can see how many people are within the path of this hurricane or other hurricanes. What's the population in those pathways? What are the rivers? Where are the dams that could be seriously compromised? For example, if there's a force acting upon those maybe earth dams. There's lots of things you can do with these layers and these tools at your fingertips. You can even bring it into ArcGIS Pro for further analysis. But just right here, take a look at these layers, pull up arcgis.com and add some hurricane data just with the add button. You need to hit modify map if you're not signed in and hit the add button. But then you can do everything I'm doing without actually being signed in. Just hit the add button and search for layers, some of which are in the Living Atlas of the World and some of which are in ArcGIS Online. For saving the map and sharing the map and doing analysis, you do need to be signed into an ArcGIS Online organizational subscription, which your organization that you're in probably has already, your government agency, your nonprofit, your university, your private company. And if not, go out and get a free account on developers.arcgis.com and you can do what I'm doing here. Thanks, and be safe out there and use these tools. They're powerful, they're easy to use, and they're extremely relevant to our dynamic planet.